Disclaimer: the insights and opinions shared on this show are for educational and entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, we recommend consulting with a qualified professional to better understand your unique financial situation. Welcome to the Investors Playbook Show, where our mission is clear: empowerment through financial education. We firmly believe that financial freedom isn't a privilege, it's a right that's available to everybody. Each week, we dive deep into the world of finances, breaking down complex topics and making them accessible and actionable for everyone. As we grow this community, we invite you to join us on this journey. Why tune in? Because together, we're not just learning about wealth, we're building a movement, reshaping futures, and proving that with the right knowledge, financial success is within everyone's reach. It's time to get off the sidelines. Let's go. Welcome to another amazing episode of Investors Playbook, episode 28. I am Deshaun Edwards.
And I'm Cornell Rowan. And today we have a special guest. So I was actually, lately I've been going to a lot of network events. So I found this brother. We were talking about real estate. You know how the real estate market is going crazy right now with interest rates, with home prices, and we had a really interesting conversation. He really showed me his knowledge. So I just had to ask this brother to come on the show and just speak to our audience. His name is Rick, and he's right here. And yeah, I really appreciate you for coming on today, Greg. You mind telling the people about yourself, what you do?
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Rick Wiley, and I'm an Atlanta real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Realty. I am was fortunate enough to be named number one in my office for 2023 for units sold. There's about 140 agents there, and currently ranked in the top 5% of all agents in Atlanta Realtors Association for the third year in a row. So I'm blessed to have that title as well. But I sell real estate. I help people to buy and sell homes all throughout Georgia. So that's what I do. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you're a serial buyer, whether it's time to sell your home, whether you're trying to flip properties, um, I do it all. So um, that's what I do. Um, what else would you like to know?
Man, I feel like that was perfect. And really, man, the fact that you're so humble about it, you just said number one out of 140. I feel like that alone is big. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you for giving us your time. And really, what I wanted to bring you on here for is to ask the questions that everybody wants to know. It's like, what's about to happen with this housing market? Because there are a lot of people, they've been waiting. They're like, oh man, the housing market is too high. You see what I'm saying? Oh, now interest rates are up. And now people are saying, man, should I rent rather than buying a home? Like, is it even worth buying a home now? So I just kind of want to go into these questions just to give people the knowledge, your expert knowledge, um, so that they can take that into account for whatever they do in their lives when it comes to buying a home or renting. So I know for the first question, I just want to know, so how are the current high interest rates affecting the local real estate market? And what potential impact do you foresee with these rate cuts coming in? Because I know that it's projected to have about four this year or like 2 to 6, something like that. They don't really know.
Okay, so the interest rates right now, we're in somewhere between the sixes and the sevens. So it's like 6.5, depends on which route you're going. If you're a veteran, you can do VA. First time home buyer, you can do FHA. Um, Otherwise, you can do conventional. In the outskirts of the Atlanta area, the rural areas, you can do USDA. So, but let's start with what you said about the interest rate. So, yeah, the interest rates are higher than they were. Um, so like I'm in a townhouse right now. I bought this townhouse 2 years ago. The interest rates were about 3.5. Okay, so obviously, we may not ever see the threes again, honestly. That was something that was going on for a while. We got spoiled with those low interest rates, but this is what happened when the interest rates were low. We were getting multiple offers on homes. It wasn't unusual to see 10, 15, 20 offers or more on a home that just hit the market in a really good condition. So you really had to bring your A game. You really had to, have an experienced agent that knew what they were doing to even get you a shot at that home. Um, but let's also there's also a correlation between the interest rates and the price. So right now, the prices for these homes are not as high as they were. In other words, we're not seeing top dollar right now for the homes. Um, so that's the trade-off right now. So, there's a saying that they say date the rate, marry the house, and then refinance later. So if you like the house, get the house. Don't worry about the interest rate right now. Okay? You can worry about the interest rate when if they go down, you can refinance and boom, you got a great price on the home. Plus now you might have a better interest rate. If the interest rates continue, if they go up, you're safe. Okay. But once the interest rates go down, I'm telling you, it's gonna be just like it was 2 years ago where you're getting 10, 20 offers on a home and the prices of the homes are gonna shoot up. So that's what's gonna happen. There's always a direct correlation between the interest rates and the price. So, do you want to buy the home at a higher price with a lower interest rate, or do you want, maybe a higher interest rate, a better price, and then once the interest rates go down, you just refinance, and that's what I would suggest. So it's a good time to buy right now.
Got you, got you. So, look, that what you just said was a lot of the issues that I was facing when I was trying to purchase a home in 2020, 2021. It was I put an offer in, and like you said, 15, 20 offers. The house that I'm trying to purchase ends up getting sold for 40,000 above asking price. You know what I mean? Like situations like that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's like you're right. Like the goal was to get a low interest rate. And like you also mentioned, probably not gonna see that again, but it was so difficult to get into a house unless you would just come in with a lot of cash or, could stomach that larger payment. Yeah, you weren't gonna be able to scoop up anything. And then now it is a lot less competitive. And what's turning people away is those interest rate prices. Because I guess in your experience, do you see people paying more monthly with the high interest rate, lower housing price, or a higher price to buy the house with the lower interest rate?
So the interest rate is going to drive up what you're paying on a monthly basis. Okay.
Yeah.
So the interest rate is always going to do that. But that's why, but the prices are lower right now. So it's always good to lock in a good price. And like I said, I mean, the interest rate, that's temporary.
Okay.
The interest rate is temporary. You can always refinance the interest rate. You can always buy down the interest rate.
Mm,
And there's certain programs out here right now where you can even get 100% financing, so you don't really have to bring any money to the closing table right now. If you can get a good deal with the closing costs, because that's the only other aspect. So you have the down payment and the closing costs. If you can get
mm,
the seller to pay some closing costs and you're not paying any down payment, you're winning.
wow.
And you can save all that money, so it really may not cost you anything to get into a home right now. You can save all of that money, and I mean, it's still going to be about the same that you're paying for rent right now. Right now rent in Atlanta for a good apartment is going for 21, 2200 a month. Okay. But that's going to get you a lot better of a home, a bigger home, more space. Because that's the thing, everyone's cramped up into these tiny apartments and they're paying $2,300 a month, and they can't even, the dog's underneath you because there's just not enough space. So, you know, you can get more space, and you're owning the home. You own the home, so you're gaining equity.
Yeah.
Okay, you bought the home for 350 this year, and next year it's worth 400.
Hmm.
You're winning. I mean, now you have 50,000 in equity, and that's when you have more options, refinance, home equity line of credit, sell and cash that money out. You
Man,
got options. If you're renting, you're not able to do any of that. You're lucky if you get the deposit back, if you're renting and you're ready to leave after a year or two, you're lucky to get the deposit back.
And I just want to go back and reiterate what you said, because that was really powerful, and I just want to make sure that it's emphasized. So basically, what you were saying is the interest rate can be changed. So if you like a house, get it at the price it is now. Don't worry about what the rate is now, because there's no because I actually made the same mistake. So I'm kind of glad that you brought this to their attention. Um, I purchased this house in like 2016, and my goal was to live in this house for 2 years and then move out and go into another house. But I kept saying, "Oh, it's too late. Well, the market is too high. The market is too high." And then guess what? Kept getting higher. Interest rates got higher, and now I'm still in the same house that I was supposed to be out of 4 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm glad that you said that. And if if they have an interest rate that they don't typically like, they can just refinance. Yeah, they'll have to pay closing costs, but that closing costs won't amount to how much they're saving from refinancing their home to a lower interest rate. So I just wanted to reiterate that, and I appreciate you for talking about that.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, because look, if you're renting, you're paying 100% interest, so let's not worry about the interest rates, I mean, if we look back at, like my parents, they bought a home in the 80s, and the interest rates were in the teens. We're talking about like 15%. Like it was crazy back then. So it can always get worse. It can always get higher. Really, the interest rates are normalizing right now. We were, like I said earlier, we were spoiled at 3%. Some people locked in even 2 point something percent, when it really hit the bottom. But yeah, we were spoiled for a long time. So right now the rates are normalizing. I mean, this is what it is. But you know, it's always better to own something than to have a landlord telling you what to do, telling you how to live your life, telling you what you can and can't do. Be the landlord, call the shots, own your own home.
So,
Exactly.
so, so do you work with sellers also?
Yes, absolutely. So my business is pretty evenly balanced between buyers and sellers. I love listing homes.
Okay,
So
got you.
there's an art to
So,
listing homes.
what advice
Uh,
would you have for someone looking to sell their home in the near future with interest rates beginning to be cut?
well, that's a good thing for them. When the interest rates go down, like I talked about earlier, the prices are going to go up. So the prices are going up. Now there's a a good time to sell and a better time to sell. The good time to sell is any time in Atlanta because the inventory is low. Okay, there's not a lot of homes. There's a lot of people, as you know, trying to move to Atlanta and the greater Atlanta area. Everyone's trying to move here. There's just not enough homes for people to choose from. So it's always a good time to sell in Atlanta. Now, there's a better time to sell, which is spring and summer. So in the spring and the summer, when the kids are out of school, because a lot of parents don't want to displace their kids in the middle of the school year. So, in the spring and the summer, that's a good time to sell. That's when people are really looking to buy, and that's when you'll get really top dollar for your home. So that's really the best time to sell. So um, we're just all realtors are pretty much getting ready, for this explosion of homes that are going to hit the market, explosion of buyers that are going to come out, and the sellers because they know that they're going to get the most money possible in these spring and summer months. But again, you can still make out good in the winter months too because the inventory is typically lower during those months. Um, so, you really can't lose, but I always suggest to sell in the spring and summer if you really want to maximize your return on your investment there.
Mhm. So what you're saying is if you're looking to buy a home, don't buy in the spring or the summer because prices are gonna go up. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, sorry, you froze up us for a second there. You said if I'm looking to buy a home, if I'm looking to buy a home, I may also want to wait until the spring or summer because that's when the most inventory is around. So it really just
Mhm.
depends. Like when do you need a home? Because when you need a home, you need a home right then and there. You don't really want to, whenever the time is right for you, but and typically if you have children you don't want to get them out of school in the middle of the school year and bring them to another school district. So it just depends on the situation, but the inventory is definitely higher in the spring and summer for buyers as well. And we're only talking about maybe a difference of you know maybe 10,000, which is a lot for a seller, right? $10,000, that's a lot. That's a come up, as far as, do you want to wait for the spring and summer and get maybe $10,000 more for your home? That's extra $10,000. But for a buyer, $10,000 is only going to correlate to in this market about $60 per month. So it's important to keep that in perspective too when you're making an offer on a home. If it's really the home that you want, and you're trying to underbid and do 10,000 under the list price and someone offers list price and they get it over you, you're talking about $60 a month that you could have had the home that you wanted for $60 more a month, which, that's what, like dinner at Applebee's, we're not talking about, we're not talking about a big amount. So, because it's amortized over 30 years, right? So that's why
Exactly.
it's really not that big a deal, honestly.
I
Mhm.
like that perspective because at first when you said 10,000, I was like, just 10,000. But then when you put it in a perspective of over 30 years and it's only going to be about $60 a month, then that may, okay, I can understand that. Would you really want to miss out on your dream home for $60 a month? I
I
feel you.
wouldn't. I
People
wouldn't.
put
Yeah.
$60 a month towards worse things. Let's just say that for sure.
Hey, that's absolutely right.
Man. So I had another question
Yep.
for you. I know that a lot of times, I mean, being a realtor, I'm interested to hear your perspective. Um, you have people who you work with, right? They go through the process, they're ready to buy a home, and then they get to a point and then they say, never mind, or they change their mind, or something kind of shies them away. And I guess you can let me know, does that happen a lot? And if it does, what do you notice is the thing that prevents people from following through with home purchases?
Well, I think the number one thing that prevents people from buying the home or shying away from the buying process really is that it's the qualification aspect of it, right? So the
Mm.
first step is speak to a lender. Speak to a lender. And once you speak to the lender, you know where you stand because, I hate, um, and it's at a point where I'm going to tell you to speak to a lender, before we even, before you get in my car, before we start looking at homes, we need to know what you qualify for. We need to know, okay? We need to know what you're qualified for and if you actually even qualify. So that's the most important part. A lot of people, they want to buy, they don't want to pay their landlord, make their landlord rich and gain their landlord's equity up. They don't want to do that. So they want to buy, but it's just like, and they're ready to buy. They're like, come on, Rick, let's go see some homes. Okay, talk to my lender, and let's make sure that your credit scores where it needs to be, and other qualifications as well, like your employment history is where it needs to be for that lender. um, these are important things. So the first stop is with the lender. Talk to the lender, and if the lender says you're good, and the lender says you're qualified for a certain amount, then okay, let's go look for homes in that certain bracket. But
Mhm.
I think for me, it's not so much people are shying away and not wanting to buy. It's that they realize that they can't, and it's not the right time for them, and that's okay. The lender will tell you what to do to get where you need to be. I have a lender that will even uh, work on your credit for free. Okay, because there's people out here that are paying for these credit repair programs. You don't need to do that. Okay, you don't need to do that. You can, there's lenders out here that will help you and tell you what you need to do.
Man.
So that's the first stop.
See, I don't know. I assumed that the answer was going to be they didn't have enough money. But I guess when it comes to purchasing a home, you mentioned a lot of home buying assistance programs previously, or before in the podcast. So, like you said, it's less about people having enough money and more like people just not even doing the first step, going to see how much money they can actually borrow to purchase a home. And
And
that's interesting to me because I really thought you was gonna
it,
be like people don't have enough money to purchase a home, but this is
right,
news.
and Deshaun, to your point, a
Hmm.
lot of people weed themselves out, right? Because they second guess themselves, they talk themselves out of the process. They're like, oh, I don't have enough money saved up. Like I said earlier, there's programs for 100% financing. What's
Yeah.
the problem? I can get you some seller closing costs to the point. I just had a client 2 weeks ago. Not only did she not bring any money to the closing table, they gave her a check for money. They gave her about $1,000 at the closing table. So she actually made money by buying a house.
Wow. Wow.
Man, and I've actually heard of those instances. That happened with my cousin also when she purchased her house. So I think that's pretty cool, especially that there are programs like that and conditions where you can walk away from the closing table with extra money.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's really, yeah, that's dope. I appreciate the information.
Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's never,
Mm.
it's never there's never an excuse to not buy a home. There's lending programs out here. Um, especially if you're a veteran and you're not owning a home, like you get that VA loan. That's 100% financing all day.
So
Hmm.
so I do have a question. Because I have some people that they feel like renting is better than buying a home. Are there any situations where you would recommend renting rather than being a homeowner?
If you're staying somewhere for a weekend or something, I mean, if you're not going to stay there, if you're only going to be there for a little bit of time, like, even if you're just somewhere for a couple of years. Now, if you're only there for a year, I did have a client, I helped them to buy a home, and a year later, they got relocated and they had to sell. Um, and that sucks. So, in that instance, because you have to figure, you're gonna spend 6% selling the home, if nothing else for agent commissions, 3% to each agent. So you got to factor those things in. So, depending on where you decided to purchase, that you may not have accrued that 6% equity in that 1 year because that's a short amount of time. So if you know you're gonna be somewhere for a couple of years, buy a home. Don't rent because rent's gonna keep going up. But with a mortgage, you're safe. The the mortgage never goes up. Unless you refinance and take money out. You're never gonna see an increase in what you pay per month. taxes, with taxes, it's going to be a small amount, because taxes, if the taxes go up, that means your value has gone up. So,
Okay.
And that was my argument because uh yeah, because now that friend is dealing with all this, and that's why I don't understand the mindset. It's like you see what's going on with rent. You can't get a single bedroom for under 1,800 a month, which is crazy, and
crazy.
you still have this mindset um of renting and long term renting at that. So I appreciate
It's
you
never a good idea.
it's never you're not building any equity. As you said earlier, you'll be lucky if you get your deposit back. So you're literally leaving with nothing when you could have built equity in the home every time you're paying your mortgage, you're paying down on that principal. Um, yeah,
I think the
Your
crazy
landlord's
part
going to
about
be happy.
oh my bad, go ahead, Rick.
Now, I just say your landlord's going to be happy. You're making
yeah,
them rich.
I was just about to say, like, and another thing with renting is they can. I mean, there are certain places, that are renter friendly, but at any moment, if because this happened to someone out here in LA, a friend of mine was living in an apartment, just chilling. The person decided to sell the house, and they said, "You got to go." Like,
crazy.
I'm not going to be the landlord anymore, and you have to dip. You can't stay here anymore, and they had to relocate. It's like you have no say in that, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
and I guess you could like fight it, go to court, but that's like more money, right? Getting a lot things of that nature. In some places, yeah, it's just if they give you enough notice, then you have to be gone. You know what I'm saying? So renting can even put you at risk
Yeah.
of
I
getting.
mean,
Go ahead.
so if you have a lease that says that you can, that you're here for the next year,
Hmm.
your landlord can't just sell next month. And if they do sell
Right.
next month, you have the right to stay there. But if you're month to month, you have
Hmm.
no say as to when you're leaving there.
Yeah. And a lot of
So,
people
but
they
yeah,
end up at least that first year, and then they just do month to month, like indefinitely. I've seen that a lot of times too. Like they don't re-sign a lease after the first year. So,
re-sign a lease because otherwise you're at the mercy of your landlord, and you're not going to win in court in that scenario.
mm-mm. Yeah. So, okay. And then, so I know that well, I don't know. Do you primarily help people with, like personal homes, like them purchasing a home to stay in, or do you help people with investment homes? And more importantly, have you ever helped someone with an out of state, like someone who doesn't live in Atlanta wanting to purchase in Atlanta, reached out to you? How did that
Oh
work?
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, it was, a lot of FaceTime and Zoom, showing them the home via video chat. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's people, like I said, there's people all over that want to invest in Atlanta because people
Hmm.
realize Atlanta's hot. The Atlanta market is hot. I mean, you can look at any uh, poll that, and Atlanta's going to pop up as one of the hottest investment areas, one of the hottest areas to invest in the country. That's just a fact. So yeah, I get clients, investor clients that want to purchase a home. Sometimes they're relocating and they're looking to move here, and sometimes they just want an investment property in Atlanta because they know that the equity is going to build up very quickly. So there's both types of investors, but I do work with investors, both that are out of state and in state looking to buy properties, as well as flippers that are looking to buy properties and rehab them and then resell them. So it's not just your standard buyer, first time buyer, serial buyer, and seller, but also investors are a big piece of my business.
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So, Rick, this is a sign for me to stop playing. We got to talk, man. especially
Let's
with what
talk.
you just said about Atlanta, man. We got to talk. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna have to tell you what I'm working with, and let's just let me know my options, man. Because I do want I want to get more into the real estate game, and I feel like with your knowledge, I could probably be find some good moves.
Yeah, there's definitely some good moves out here. It's never a bad time to buy a home. Um, you know, uh, Next year, it's always a scenario where next year you're gonna kick yourself for not buying a house this year. I mean, I know so many people that are like, I'm gonna wait the market out. I'm gonna wait, and it's gonna crash. It's not crashing. All right, that's not happening. That's not. It
Hey,
never
Cornell used to say
crashes.
that, bro.
Bruh, people.
Cornell used to. He's like, these housing
It's
prices is too high. They gotta go down. The
I've been
market's
saying
about
that
to
for
crash.
6 years. Hey, it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash. Look at me now. This is my son. I gotta
every
stop playing.
Yeah, everyone I know that's on the fence and like wait for the crash, buy now. Those that bought, they're always, you know, thankful. They're like, Rick, I
Mhm.
got 100,000 in equity. Like, this is like 2 years later. They're like, I got 100,000 equity right now. Like, the market didn't crash. Like the market, I mean, it's like, especially we're in Atlanta, such scarcity of inventory, the demand is always there. It's always a good time to buy. The prices, what do they call this, New York of the South? The prices just haven't caught up to New York yet.
It's going
Mm.
in there. And the thing is, I know, man, because it's about time in the market and not timing the market. So I need to stop trying to time the market and just do it. Just need to
Yo,
do
It's
it. So
better.
time,
It's better.
bro.
It's better. It's better to buy and wait than to wait to buy.
yes,
I like that. I like
yeah,
that. That's good right
man. So yeah, Rick, where? My bad. Did you have a question, Deshaun?
there.
So where can the people find you, man? Like, do you have like can you tell them your social media handle or how you prefer for them to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with Instagram, it's at follow Rick. So follow Rick on Instagram. Yeah, I'm on TikTok, the Atlanta Broker on TikTok. Um, I'm on Facebook, Rick Wiley. My website, My Realtor Rick. You can find me there. My email, Rick at My Realtor Rick, and phone number 404-620-1400. So, you can text me, call me anytime. When you call the number or text the number, you get me, not a partner or a helper. You're not going to get a novice agent that's working on my behalf. You're going to get me. So that's one thing I pride myself on is when you're looking for me, when you think you're working with me, you are working for me because there's some brokerages out here. I'm not gonna name any name. You're not gonna get. But all
Hey,
right,
call them out,
okay,
Rick. Call them out, bro.
let's just give an example. You know what I'm saying? You see Mark Spain on a commercial, you're never gonna talk to Mark. Let's be honest. You're not. Mark's on the
Yeah.
beach somewhere chilling. You're
Mhm.
not gonna speak to Mark. So but there's other teams out here. You don't know who you're gonna get, who's gonna help you out. But I pride myself on putting in that work, um, and just being available. I mean, that's really the secret sauce. I feel like to my success is just being available. Um, so
No.
yeah,
And look, that's really what goes a long way, right? Like it's it's the personability a lot when it comes to a situation like this, because you're helping someone purchase their like first big purchase in life, right? Their home. And it's really important that they work with someone that they trust. Because I again talk to people that they've backed out because their realtor is too pushy, or their realtor doesn't understand what they want, or they just don't get a good vibe from their realtor. Literally, something as simple as not getting a good vibe. So, even just how you went through and said, yo, here's my number, call me. I really appreciate that. And I know that anyone tuning in will 100% appreciate that, whether they live in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, want to invest in Atlanta. Um, yeah, man, that's really awesome, bro. And we really appreciate it for real.
Just
Appreciate it,
speaking to
Deshaun.
that, just speaking to the vibe thing. I feel like vibe is important though, because I don't know
It
if you
is.
remember, like before when I was about to buy this house, I almost bought
Oh
that
yeah, I
mess.
remember
You see what I'm
that
saying?
buster.
That was my first time buying a home, and she didn't tell. Like I was thinking appraisal and inspection were the same thing. You know, I was young, and
Sure.
I didn't get an inspection on the home. And then it's the
Ooh.
walkthrough day. And she's like, "Oh, I thought you would have did that. You're supposed to be coaching me through this. Like as the realtor, you're the experienced one." She was just trying to get
Right.
a quick check off of me.
He was trying to get his
So
check.
so if somebody's giving
Mm.
you a bad vibe, you you need to be weary of that, especially with something as big as a home, because I know that you're not just working with people that are first time home buyers,
Mm.
but some of the people that you are working with are, I'm sure, are first time home buyers, and they don't
Oh yeah.
know things. Like things that we may think are obvious are not obvious to these people that have never been in that process or never seen someone else do that process. So we just, vibe is a big thing. If somebody's giving you sketchy vibes, then you might need to ask another person. So yeah. So
Exactly.
if you want an experienced realtor, please holler at Rick. Man, we appreciate you for coming on here
Thank
and
you.
out of your busy day, because I'm sure you have a lot going on. It's a busy market out here.
The
So
busy market, and it's warming up right now. I mean, I think there's like a correlation between the weather and the market, I like to say. So in the spring and summer, it's hot, and that's when the market's getting really hot. So it's really starting to cook out here. I mean, but like I said, people are buying and selling all year round, so it's never a bad time to really lock into the market. Especially here in Atlanta and in the Atlanta area. So yeah, holla at me. I'm available. I'm ready to work for you and get you a home or a second home or answer any questions that you have about real estate. Um, so yeah, I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Deshaun. Thank you, Cornell. Um, really appreciate y'all having me on the show. Um, anytime you want me to come back, I'm be more than happy to come back to the show.
for sure, you can come back after you help me get this first investment property.
All
There
right,
you go.
let's do it. Let's get it done.
Sure. All right, y'all. As always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the support. And as always, y'all can go to our website, find any link that you all need from us at www.investorsplaybookllc.com. And yeah, thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all. Hey, have a good week.
Appreciate it.
Peace out.
Peace. Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate you, Rick.
Absolutely, absolutely. This was fun. Let's do it again.
Yes, sir.